Hello, my name is Elise, or Caffeine and Misery, and today I'm going to be talking about probably the deck I was looking forward to the most out of set 8 for brand new, or set 7 for Divines out of brand new decks coming out. That being Argo, Siren, Calliopeia. If you don't know, my favorite deck of all time is Flagberg for standard. I like the silly little dragon. I know he's not good, but I love the AQUA units. I love the AQUA aesthetic, and I'm glad we have another deck in that aesthetic, and arguably more playable than Flagberg, as much as it pains me to say. Before I get into the list, shout out to AQUA Azim on Twitter. This is their list that I'm using overall. I think the only differences are our trigger lineups. This is based on their list, though. Go ahead, give them a follow on Twitter, even if you ignore me. But let's go ahead and get into this. So for the ride line, I am on the Grade 0 Argo Siren Roto list, which has the same standard going second draw card skill. And the reason I'm on that is because the Grade 1 Argo Siren Eremia has the condition that it needs to ride over the Grade 0 with the cost of revealing your Grade 3 Argo Siren from your ride deck. You get to search your deck for a tiding card and add it to the hand. The tidings are set orders that we will be getting into as we hit the grades. The Grade 2 does the exact same thing when riding up. Reveal the Grade 3, add a tiding card. They also both have rearguard skills. Eremia, when the unit in front of it stands by a card ability for Soul Blast, she can stand if you have an Argo Siren Vanguard. And as long as you have an Argo Siren Vanguard, Retsi gets boost. Refsi, my bad. I can't read very well. And of course, we have the Grade 3 Argo Siren Calliopeia, which during your turn, as long as your bind zone has one tiding card, it gets 5k. If it has 2 or more different tidings, your front row gets 5k instead. On with that, as an act, once per turn, you can discard a card from hand. You get to pick a tiding from drop and put it into the order zone. And when she attacks a Vanguard, you can counterblast 1 to choose a tiding and bind it. But if your opponent's Vanguard is a Grade 3, for an additional 3 energy, you choose 2 instead. Why would you want to be binding these set orders? Well, they both have skills that trigger when they're bound that we'll be getting to shortly. But first, let's go ahead and start through the rest of the main deck. Of course, I'm on 3 Persona rides. And then I'm on 4 copies of Stunning Wave Dragon that when placed from hand or deck gets 5k, and for a counterblast or 3 energy draws a card, and when it attacks you can have it get 5k till end of turn, but at the end of the turn it's retired. So it's a beater, and it is going to be notable that it is a tier dragon, you'll see why in a moment. But first, for the other Grade 3 unit, the last one, I'm on a single copy of Inlet Pulse Dragon, who at the end of the turn, as long as you attacked 4 more times, it goes to soul draw a card. The reason I'm not on more copies is honestly because it feels like Inlet Pulse has fallen off quite a bit. You still need it in Flagberg, but any other deck that's not Flagberg, you shouldn't be, if you're running it, you should only have the one. The reason it's in this list is because it is a tier dragon that will generate soul and draw you a card. But why is that important? Well, that's because of the Grade 4, or Grade 3, 4 of tiding that I have here, Kainos Arcos, which can be played with a Soul Blast as long as you have an Argo Siren Vanguard. And when it's put into the order zone, you get to search your deck for a tier dragon and call it. So that's why you're on the inlets. That's why Stunning Wave has the condition that it's hand or deck. Other than that, when it's bound from the order zone by your Vanguard, by your Grade 3 Argo Siren Vanguard, if your opponent's Vanguard is on Grade 3, your Vanguard gets, at the end of the battle it attacks, as long as it did not stand via a skill that turn, it restands and gets the drive set to 1. So Calliopeia gets to restand with a 3rd drive trick for the turn. Onto the Grade 2 lineup, I am on 3 copies of Tideline Dragon, who, as a once per turn act, for a single Soul Blast, as long as you persona of that turn, you you get to pick another rearguard, and both Tideline and that unit get 10k. So it's just a nice beater. It's a tier dragon, so it's searchable off Kainos Orcos. It's another target. And then I'm also on 2 more copies of Refsy because she's a grade 2 booster and an Argo Siren name. For my grade 1s, I'm on 2 copies of the Rideline Eremia, who again gets to restand if the unit in front of it's restood for a single Soul Blast. I'm also on 4 copies of Argo Siren Sinel, who, when placed on rearguard circle, as long as you have an Argo Siren Vanguard, for a single counterblast gets to search the deck or drop for a Tiding, and if the opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 and a Tiding was put into the order zone, she gains 5k. So she gets to be a 13k booster. I'm also on 4 copies of Argo Siren Melson, who at the end of the battle, she boosts a tier dragon, can go to Soul to give a unit on board 5k. So she's more soul generation, she gets to put more power to your units. And of course, I'm on 3 copies of Katharos Ode, the second Tiding, that can be played for a Soul Blast, just like the other one. But when this one is put in, you check the top 7 cards of your deck, reveal either an Argo Siren or a Tiding. If it's an Argo Siren, it gets called. If it's Tiding, it goes to hand. And when this one is bound from the order zone by your grade 3 Argo Siren, you get to restand one of your rear guards. So this allows you for more multi-attack. This is how you're hitting 4 attacks going first, and then you have the Kainos Orcos for more pressure. And then of course, I'm on perfect guards, just the regular ones that if you don't have the cards in hand. For the trigger lineup, I'm on a crit heavy build for it. I'm on 7 criticals. You really can get away with doing 8 fronts, doing 4 of the 20k, 4 of the soul fronts. I like the crit pressure a bit more. There are some tech cards I've seen people talking about that can make it even more optimal, but that's not here nor there. I'm also on 4 copies of Tier 9 Ruthion, which is the soul front that when it's retired from Guardian Circle, you can put it into soul. And that's important because you are soul blasting quite a bit for if you're playing the orders from hand, for Eremia, for Tideline Dragon. I'm on 4 normal heal triggers. And then lastly, a single source dragon deity of blessings, bless favor, the Stoicheia over trigger, which, as a reminder, when it's drove check, performs all 4 types of triggers in standard: heal, draw, critical, and front. So let's go ahead and get into a little bit more of the deck, what I like, what I don't like. One of the things I really like about the deck is how well it actually plays into the theming. It attacks really fast. It uses these Tidings orders to restand. It does the Aquaforce thing arguably better than Flagberg does, which I will admit is kind of a shame. 2, it is very efficient overall. The orders, because the Vanguard can put them in from drop, they are free fodder to ride into, to discard for ride. Along with that, because the skill is to discard a card, you can play one from hand, discard, and put the same one you discarded. They're really resource efficient. They are good at getting stuff in. Within itself, it has a very easy way to build up soul in Melson. It has good card draw in power with Stunning Wave Dragon. But one of the biggest things I think it is lacking on is potential counter, is being denied counterblast. The Vanguard skill is a counterblast cost. Sinel is a counterblast cost. Sometimes you need to do the Sinel to see the cards you're missing. And if you're not seeing them, it may not work. And there's not really a good option for a countercharge right now. But I do believe we are getting, I may be misremembering, I do believe we are getting one in set 8. And I'm really excited. The set 8 support for Argo Sirens looks brilliantly good. But that's the list. I hope you guys liked the video. If you do, all the YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. I'll see you next time. Ciao.